Thailand with your host, Dave D. Join us weekdays. Check out all the latest updates on talkingheads-podcast.com.
And welcome to Pattaya, welcome to Thailand, and welcome to the Talking Head studio. As per number, what can we say? It's an early one today, Bobby. Hey.
Yeah, you got me out of bed today, David.
You got me out of bed, mate. Do you realise I normally from yesterday? It was a great show yesterday. It was a marathon, nearly 2 hours.
It was. We're up for a marathon today.
We're up for another marathon today, and we are
aqua.
We're an aqua marathon, graced in the studio by two great people. Nice to have you in the studio, Amara. Welcome to the studio.
Sawadee ka.
Sawadee Kab. Nice to see you in here. What do you think to the studio?
It's a bit funny.
What do you mean funny? No, forget Bobby. What's the studio like?
I'm not used to being in a small room.
Oh, right, okay. And Craig at the end there, welcome to the show as well.
Yeah, I'm used to being in small rooms, especially padded walls.
All right, okay, guys, keep yourself up to the microphone so we can hear everything loud and clear. Down there, of course, Bobby, as per normal, it's going to be a good one today because this is something that I'm new to because you took me there.
These are my special friends here.
Yeah, these are your special friends, and you're going to know a little bit more about this than I am, okay? I can sort of lead the way. Guys, you're welcome to jump in at any time. But, of course, the best place to start is at the beginning. Is that okay with you? Yes?
Okay.
So we're going to go with you, Amara. As a little girl, where were you?
I was born in Ayutthaya.
Nice place.
The old capital. And my dad passed away when I was 10. He was the teacher. He is very strict teacher. So at the age of 13, I have to move to Pattaya to look for a job.
At 13?
Yeah.
Ow.
No choice.
No choice. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of people over the years, and I mean, like you, I would imagine, no disrespect, that your upbringing, what I'm reading on here, was a pretty poor upbringing, and you had a bit of a struggle. So you had to leave at 13 and come here. Yes.
Yeah.
Then where did you? What happened after that? I mean, 13. What did you do at 13?
Well, when I got to Pattaya, I started. My sister lived here. Mm-hmm. So I moved here and collect the rubbish. Mm-hmm. At that time, there was a GI camp. So I pick up the rubbish and separate and recycle the paper, for example. Make a paper bag and find a shell, at Bali High, the crab, fish, whatever.
How much did you get for recycling the paper?
Well, I'm making a bag out of the old paper. 100 bags, I got 1.5 baht on that.
1.5 baht.
Yes, for 100 paper bag.
Wow.
And that time we don't have a plastic bag.
Oh, so it's to put food in, right?
Yes, to put food in.
Oh, okay. All right. So you made 100 bags.
Yeah, 100 bag. I earn about 1.5 baht.
For 100 or for
100,
1 bag?
For 100 bags.
For 100 bags, you get 1.5 baht.
Yes.
Yeah. How did you go? Wow. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, but it's still much better than when I was little.
Yeah, I get it. And survival, and you've made a way of making some money. I understand that. But I mean, when we sit here, as foreign people and put that into context, I mean, to me, that's a big wow factor.
It's much better than when I was little, when my sister has to paddle to the small boat to the temple and pick up the food that the monk gave to the dog. She picked it up, brought to us, recook, and we eat it.
Yeah, you had no choice.
We have no choice.
No choice.
So
I mean, I do know. I've spoken to some Thai people that I know before, and I have researched a couple of things. I met a lady and the family who survived for 2.5 years on just rice and oil, which I find unbelievable. I know it exists, of course it exists, but I mean, when you sit in front of me and like you are today, which we're going to talk about and what you do, to tell us where you come from is very, very important to understand where you are now, which takes a lot of willpower.
Oh, yeah,
should I
sure.
say. Yeah. So, I mean, when you came to Bali and you was doing the bags, I've got to get this in my head, 100 bags for 1.5 baht. Wow. Where did you go from there?
I saved that money and pay for the English lesson. And that time I was 13 because no job. And so I took English course, like crash course, for 1,400 baht, and then
1,400 baht.
Yes.
That's a lot of paper bags.
so now you know why I'm so small.
I just had this vision of you going for this English crash course and a lorry turning up for payment, bringing all your paper bags. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And after you learn English, which I can see that you've learned a lot and you're very good in it. I mean, what happened then after you did your English?
Oh, when I was 15, I saw my brother who's working at the windsurfing rental. And I think it looked cool, so I asked if I can learn. And so he taught me on the beach about 5 minutes, and then off I go. And I was so happy.
Did your brother expect you to be able to do it?
No one expected me to do it, but I made it. I went out and come back, and I was so happy. But then the problem started. He doesn't want me to be on the beach, like walk around with short and full of beach boys. So he's a bit conservative. So since that time, I have to prove myself.
And what age were you then?
I was 15.
15.
Yeah.
So his concern was that you shouldn't be on the beach as a 15-year-old
Yes.
girl with all these beach bums, so to speak, walking around, and he was a bit concerned about what you're doing. Okay, so where do we go from there? I mean, did you get a job there, or did he?
Not in the beginning, but his boss has another windsurfing rental. It was at Loincliff Hotel, so it's a bit.
Royal Cliff.
Yeah, Loincliff
Yeah.
Hotel, and my brother was at Central Festival. So I walked from there to Loincliff just to help my boss so that I can windsurf. And end of the day, he gave me 50 baht, just to help. And then I walked back because the taxi wouldn't pick me up because I'm wet and dark.
Yeah, sure.
So I have to walk back from Loincliff
Ow.
back to close to Central Festival.
I know that a lot of us take, because of our different upbringings, a lot of us take things for granted, don't we? I mean, we all do. I mean, Bobby and Craig and me, and we take things for granted. But when we have somebody like you who's an inspiration in the studio and doing what you did as a small girl to where you get to 15, I mean, things start to turn around for you a little bit there, yeah?
Yes.
But of course, coming from the village doing what you did before, coming from picking up the bags to earn the money to pay for the classes. I mean, going to the windsurfing, is that right? Am I saying that right? Windsurfing, is that right?
Yep.
If you go to the windsurfing, I'm sure that must have been your first time on the water,
Yes.
on a board.
Yes.
It must have been crazy in your head. It must have been so fantastic.
So fantastic. My body was so happy. And I can see that usually I have a lot of problem because I don't know what to do with myself.
Could you swim then?
A little bit.
Interesting. I believe that today a lot of Thai people can't swim. It's one of the things that they sort of don't do, and it's just so important in my eyes to learn to swim, especially the children of today. Be it foreigners or be it Thais or be it whatever. I just think that that people should go out of their way to learn to swim. It's just one of those massive important things.
Basic life skill, yeah.
It is because, sadly, in Thailand and around the world, but in Thailand, I've done news stories in the past where, kids have drowned in shopping centres, in ponds in shopping centres, because they can't swim. It's crazy, but you could swim a little bit, yes?
Yes, but when I was little, every time I jump into the water, I grew up by the river side. Pasak River. In the summer, I used to jump in the water, and every time I come back, my aunties bang me with a banana leaf because they think I shouldn't go in the water. But it was so hot, and I thought if I live with fear, I will be, fear forever.
Yeah.
So I keep sneaking. I almost drown.
I think that's the difference in the strong-willed person, because a lot of people, if they do something wrong and they get a whipping or a caning or whatever you want to say, they go, "Oh, I shouldn't do that, and I'm not going to do that again,"
Right.
and they sit down and they don't do it again. So it doesn't give them the chance to do something. Yeah,
It's very important what you conform to and what you don't. Right?
yeah. So being whipped by a banana leaf and you go, you know what? I'm going back again, and I'm going back again, and I'm going back again. That just shows what kind of person you are. I mean, that's fantastic. So, what about the actual windsurfing itself? I mean, did you, after you learned to swim and on the board, where did your job go? Where were you?
Okay. When I was 15, when I learned to windsurf, I keep helping my brother's boss to run his little business. And during that time, I practiced. And 3 months later, I joined the race. It's called Siam Cup. And I finished second woman, and I finished first woman in the marathon. From
This is a race, yeah?
yes, it's the race. Just 3 months after.
3 months after.
Yes. So
Unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, we've gone from bags to English classes to getting on a board for the first time to winning.
yeah, I won the race in
Wow.
the marathon, and then my brother's boss offered me the job to help.
And so he should.
Yes, and of
So
course
he
I
should.
said yes.
How would you let you go? I mean, come on, 3 months on a board and you win it, and that's it. He's not going to let you go, is he?
Yeah. So I start. I think when I was 15, it was first of January. I start to work, and then 4 months later, the Cobra company, they produce a surfboard and export around the world, asked if I want to go to Europe for the competition,
To be a team rider.
the
for
team
Cobra.
rider for Cobra. And I said, yeah, sure. So when I was,
I like that. I like your attitude. Yeah, sure. Okay, I
So-
like that. That's it. I like that.
so I, just when I turned 17, I just get in the plane with the fat dictionary in my bag.
I did the same at 16, so I'm with you all the way there. I admire you for that. So Cobra was Craig. Cobra is the make of a board, yes?
Cobra is it's a big factory that make for many other brands now.
Okay.
But back then they were like a garage operation.
Okay, all right. So they were what? They were sending you abroad for what? For doing
to race.
to race,
Yes.
and they were sponsoring you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they also send the board to Germany that time.
Uh-huh.
It's made in Thailand, but for German market. So I was a bit like a windsurfing ambassador from Thailand for their brand when I was 16.
It's not a bad start, is it?
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all. That I mean, come on. I mean, okay. So you go from Thailand at 17 years, all right?
16.
16.
Yep.
So you're going from Thailand at 16. So you from 15 being told to get off the beach
Yeah.
to 16 to be told to get on a plane.
Yeah.
You're not doing too bad, are you?
Not
so
too
far?
bad.
So you go to Europe and you get over there, and what happens? Did you go alone, by the way? Did you go alone?
my boss, he went with me.
Okay.
Yep. And
Amara, excuse me, where was the first place they took you to in Europe?
Oh, they took me to the lake. It's in Munich.
In Munich.
Yes.
It's not a bad start, Munich. I
It's
can tell you
not
that.
bad, but it's a bit like it's in the field, and it was.
It's a lake.
It's a lake, and my sponsor, he's German, and he said to me, "Don't panic." And I can't understand what panic means, so I have to look in dictionary. And so then I come to the area when just naked Farang, they're walking around there.
Hang on a minute. Hang on.
And I didn't know
It was a
that lake.
nudist colony.
Hang on, we're in the nudist colony now. Deja vu, deja vu.
I said, what? I'm coming from.
What do they do
Thailand.
in Germany? Okay, so you're over there. You're there. You're with your board.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been okay. I've got you. Wow. Okay, and it's on a lake where your first competition is. Yes,
Yes.
and nobody's wearing anything.
Nobody is wearing anything.
That's what you call a power start. Absolutely great. Okay, so what happened there?
Oh, nearly every weekend I have to go and race in many different places. Like I go to
So you was traveling around.
traveling around. Yeah. But I stay most of the time in South Germany, and they send me to like France, Denmark, and other small country around Luxembourg, Belgium.
Oh, so you actually did like the tour of
the tour, yes,
Okay, and how long did that last for?
3 months.
3 months. So
Yes.
you did like a tour of what you was teaching or racing?
Racing.
Oh, so you were racing in different competitions
Yes.
in different
Yes,
countries.
Yes, around
Wow.
Europe, but
Okay.
based in Germany. So just every weekend I'm.
So these guys must have seen the potential in you and said you're very good at what you do, and basically wanted to sponsor you to put you in the races.
To make their board look good.
Can't blame them, can you? You can't blame them. You can't blame them at all. But what a power start that is! I mean, that must have been an eye opener. Turning up with board and going, right, I've got my board. Everybody's forgot the clothes, but I've got my board.
Cobra Factory now employs about 5,000 people, I believe.
Wow.
So they're also a success story.
And are you still in contact with these people? Yes?
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Cool.
yeah, sure.
I find that amazing.
I'm still working with them.
Oh well, then there you go. I mean, that's even better, isn't it? To keep ties with them. I mean, after all, they did sort of like put you on your way and start you and take you as the potential. What about? I mean, what can we say? I mean, you've been in Thai championships, yes?
Yep.
Winning Thai championships.
Thai championship, and I've been taking. Let's say, I've been competing for over 40 years.
This is the wind. Is this the windsurf board with the sail?
Yep.
Is that what
Yep.
we're talking of?
Yeah.
Okay, right, I've got you. I'm just trying to get everything in my head. Sorry for my ignorance, but he's the expert at the
Yeah.
end.
So,
He's
Amara,
he's the border board.
you were competing as a professional racer for 25 years, is that right?
More, I can say, yeah.
Yeah, but you still join events and
Yeah,
compete.
I join event.
Yeah.
Still?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you still go to events now then?
Yes, 2 years ago, I still joined the race, and I'm still finished third.
Still finished third?
Yeah.
I mean, that's still some achievement, isn't it? And over the years, I mean, have you been like an ambassador for this in Thailand? Like, do they sort of pick you and say you're the role model for this in Thailand, or?
At the moment, yeah.
Okay, cool. I mean, that's a pretty good. So you're their sort of like stamp on the business.
Now there's actually a new generation of female windsurfers
Yeah.
who are also outstanding.
Yes.
So it's quite nice. It's like a family.
Yes, it's like family.
But it must be very. I mean, you know, when you see the windsurf, it must be very. How do you say? Gratifying, rewarding, or whatever you want to say. Because my family came down to the beach to your place for the first time via Bobby.
Yep.
And Bobby says, "Oh, you know, we'll take your lads on the board and whatever. My lads can swim." But I mean, I was amazed how quick my lad got on the board, Bobby, didn't he? And he just
he's
loved
a natural.
it. He just loved it, which is something I never even have tried. You know, and I've been a lot of places in the world, so I've never tried it. But
These kids have amazing balance.
yeah, I mean, it was thanks to you. I mean, but you know, it's
Well, thanks to your son's an amazing swimmer.
well, he's not bad. He's like you. He's a bit of a racer at the moment. Keeps coming home with a sad face and going, "They only won gold." But that's another story. Now I've got on here. I mean, I've got SUP and Wing Environment Activism. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right? What is that, Bobby?
Well, you could ask Craig that question. Craig would.
Can you go for that, Craig? I mean,
Sure.
I've got bullet points from Bobby, so I'm sort of going through them and helping everybody along the way. I'm very impressed by you, by the way. I am. I'm in awe. Can I say that? In awe.
We're in the presence right here.
Yeah.
We're in the presence.
You know, I've interviewed thousands of people over the years in different countries and that, and sometimes some people just sort of stand out to you, and you're one of them. That's a great inspiration.
Yeah, I like to change, you know.
That's it. You've got it. You've just
I want
hit
to
the
change the world, because in the old time they don't respect the woman, especially in Thailand when I was born as the girl. I've had a feeling that I don't get respect enough as the man.
I think that I
From a
don't.
man.
Yeah, I don't think that was just Thailand. I think that was all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, years and years ago, probably a bit more in Thailand and Asian countries, but over the years, of course, in other countries, the woman always felt inferior. But the woman is actually a big part of what happens in in our lives.
Yeah.
You know, so I just think that, you know, they wanted to be equal, which they did in the end, and a bit more probably harder in Thailand to do that. Yeah.
Yep. All right. And in the past, when I compete in Thailand, many races they don't have the prize for women, so I have to compete with the man all the time. So I have to trying to keep, you know, on top, like the top three.
Was there many ladies doing the,
Not
the,
many.
the boarding?
In
when
the
you were
old
doing it?
time, not many.
Yeah.
So we're talking. Can I ask you what year we're talking of now? I mean,
I start to my first race in 1978.
78.
Yes.
Okay.
And it took many years for Thai people to know that the Thai people have been traveling around and won the world championship. They
But
have
did you not get any sort of help or backing or
Not from the government.
anything at that time?
Not from the government. The second year I got different sponsor.
Yeah, sure.
That's when I won the world championship, world champion freestyle. When I was 17, that was from different sponsor. So in that time I came back and I ran my own windsurfing rental, and I spend my own money traveling around the world, joining the race, or I asked a Bunrod Berivari for sponsor from time to time. And well,
I just thought that did they recognise you? The Thai government or anything? Did they recognise you eventually or not?
not really until 1990.
So what? 12 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have seen it as an opportunity missed by them, because if you're as good as you are, and obviously you're as good as you say you are, and you've won all these competitions and that, and you've come first and done all these things, I would have said that the Thai government missed a little bit of an opportunity there to say this is an ambassador for Thailand in this sport.
Yeah, but again, still, it's not too late. In year 1992,
Okay.
they sent me to the Olympic.
Okay.
Yes.
So you went to the Olympics.
Yes.
And where was this held?
It was in Spain.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't finish race well, but I learned a lot.
Doesn't matter. It's a taking part. It's a taking part.
Yeah, just to take part. But about 9 years ago, Tiger won the World Olympic Youth in windsurfing.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, that's. But do you think? I mean, can I say this? When you started doing the windsurfing, was there anywhere else in Thailand where they were doing this, or was there any other women doing this,
No.
or you were one of the first?
I'm one of the first.
I mean, it's nice to say where the roots started, isn't it?
Well, in an event like that, to stay relevant, you need to be a podium position in the top 3. And because there's no women competing, there's no women's class. So she had to compete with the guys and get a podium place. Otherwise, she's not relevant, and
Absolutely.
it'll be harder for her to get sponsorship next time.
Yeah, I mean, over the last few weeks now, you're the second Olympian we've had in the studio, which we feel great, don't we, Bobby?
Yeah.
I mean, we're meeting all these fantastic people in here, and it's going to continue, and it's brilliant to hear everybody's story. But your story is very, very inspiring to a lot of people out there, and that, I've always had this thing in my life: never give up.
Never give up.
I've always had that after my name, never give up. And I don't. And sometimes you do many things that are right, and sometimes you do many things that are wrong.
Yep,
But
right.
but if you don't have a go, you don't know.
Yeah, just keep
You don't know,
trying.
Keep trying.
So, Amara, who inspired you to not give up, to make you keep moving forward?
I can't tell. I have many
Heroes?
many heroes, and like
Is there any one or two people that you looked up to and said, I want to be like them, or?
no, not really, not
Cool.
exactly in the same way. And when I was young, I like to read the story about the like woman professor. For example, they have to fight so hard to get to university, and
Well, it's true in what you were saying. They weren't recognised, and and I'm a man, and I think it was totally wrong. But I mean, I was totally against that. But I mean, it's for equality, it's got to be there, and as you say in the Olympics, because it was not a recognised sport for a woman, there wasn't a class for you, so you've got to go into the men's class, race with the men, and to get a podium through the men's class is even better than actually, in my eyes, racing in the women's class. So you've proved double there in my eyes. Would you agree with that, Craig? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like also thinking like, who was the first person who believed in you and gave you that confidence?
I think the confidence I get a lot from my dad. My dad was the teacher, and he was the first person who showed me that he has a faith in me. I remember before he passed away, and we have a small piece of land, and he said, "What can we do with this land? Because I have 10 brothers and sisters."
10 brothers and sisters.
Yes, and my dad was very ill at that time, and I said, "Well, plant the banana." And he asked, "Why do you think it's good to plant banana?" So I have to come up with the answer.
Yeah,
Why
sure.
banana? So you can use the leaf, you can use the trunk,
Correct.
and you can eat the flower. You can eat the root.
There ain't much of it you can't use.
So you can use everything. So on. He said, "Wow!" And he showed really, and he accepted my idea. So we plant banana.
Did your father have like strong beliefs? Did he believe in you and what you could do, or did he try and put his beliefs onto you and help you? What would you say?
From the way I feel, he believed in me.
Good.
And that's the most important. The belief from my dad. So then I think I don't really care what the other think when my dad gave me that much trust.
I think that's a lot of people's stumble in block in life, and that is, they feel a bit down and out and not feel worthy. But as soon as somebody believes in you, be it your father, be it your mother, be it somebody who's got a company, as soon as somebody believes in you, it gives you that extra energy in my eyes, and that helps you along the way. Would you say that, Craig?
Yeah, and your father passed away when you were 10,
I was
right?
10, yeah.
Right, and how was your mum then?
My mom was an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I am so concerned about health, environment, the nature. Because
it's to be drinking alcohol all the time it's so easy, and it's an addiction, and it's a sad thing that happens in life, and it's all over the world, and you have to deal with it how you can.
Amara's mum gave birth 15 times, 5 miscarriages, and they gave her like a tonic that was alcohol based to help with the pain, and that's how she sort of slipped into that. She was an extremely tough lady.
Yeah, just tough.
She's very tough.
Yes, I think that's what I learned from my mom, is to be tough. And I gained confidence from my dad. So from these two combination.
My dad was the same. My dad says you have to be tough in life, you have to be strong in life, otherwise you get stepped on.
Yeah, that's right.
And you either be, you're either one of those people that are going forward or going backwards, or you don't move, and the choice is yours at the end of the day. But your story is absolutely brilliant. But how do you go from, I'm going to sort of skip this and bring it in a nice way, and that is, how do you go from 100 bags for 1.5 baht to Trash Hero? I mean, what is trash? What is Trash Hero?
Okay, when let's say I spend a lot of time on the water, and I see how Pattaya changed. When I was little, the water was blue, I mean light blue color, and I walk out.
Coming back now a little bit though, isn't it?
Yes, just a little bit, and
Sorry, Mara. The coast of Pattaya was subtropical rainforest, all the way to the beach. And I've heard the locals talk about tigers would come out of the forest and actually catch fish. And when the people brought the buffalo to the water, and the buffalo poo in the water, just instantly surrounded by fish. There was so much life in the water and on the land back then, right? And obviously we have a different kind of assets now.
I've seen pictures of people that came here years and years ago. Literally years ago, 76s, all this, and I've seen their pictures, and it's just totally different.
It's different.
You don't notice when things change slowly, right?
No.
But you do notice when you're in that environment every day.
So being down on their Trash Hero.
Yeah, and I grow up, let's say I go to the beach nearly every day, and where I live, the land is so small. So I used to walk to Soy Buah Khao and pick up the lotus. Buah Khao, it means white lotus. To pick up the lotus and morning glory.
Okay.
And when more and more people move in, so they start throwing the rubbish into that lake. It was a swamp. And it's full of rubbish. Then I can't eat anymore. I have to move the rubbish to pick up the morning glory. And so why it's changed? Because people are so dirty, and that drives me crazy, and I can't stop.
I think it's habit. I mean, if people are taught to do this, regimental, eventually they will get what they have to do. But of course, today with people on beaches and the way they eat and the way they use it and leaving their rubbish behind, it's just they're not educated that way, and they don't understand what they're doing.
They don't understand.
I was in Laos in a small village, and it was on a river, like many villages are, and leading from the back of the village, leading down into the river, was just a stream, and you could see the rubbish was about 7 years old. That was probably when the first 7-Eleven or even preceding that, right? So what happens is the convenience of the plastic wrapped food comes long before the infrastructure of what to do with it. There is even no rubbish system, but there is a system of, you can buy this and make 50% margin, right? But there is none of that margin going back into what do you do with that plastic.
Yeah, I mean the recycle process at the moment. Of course, they're trying to do as much as they can. I don't think there's enough of it. I think that the bags out of Thailand was a little bit of a move, but you can still walk in a shop now and they give you one if you want one. I mean, it's not really
recycling is suboptimal because it's like enabling something that should never happen anyway.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
I mean, we used to get milk in glass bottles, right? What was wrong with that? That was good, right?
Absolutely.
And we de-evolved from that.
Well, I remember, getting in the UK. I mean, we used to get the milk in the morning from the milkman in the glass bottles, a couple of pints of milk, and they used to be on the doorstep. And basically, you'd use them. Man would wash them out. She'd put them back on the step. The man would take them back. They go to the factory. They're cleaned up, and they're in circulation again in a few days' time. I mean, what was wrong with that? It's just it's using plastic is. It's very, very, it's just ruining a lot of places.
Yeah, so we, like outsourcing makes sense, but you don't want to you need regulations, so you don't just outsource the part that is non-profitable or not interesting. You need to take responsibility for the whole life cycle of a product.
I think today, as we probably know, and it's a sad situation today, and that is that, it's money, 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 money. That's what it is, and the environment sort of comes second.
It's interesting because, every other creature on the planet harvests and feeds from its environment.
Absolutely.
And humans, not so many humans now have any interaction with the environment. We harvest from each other. And the way we do that is using business strategies.
Yes.
And so we tend to have a way of thinking which is kind of strategic, but it's very synthetic. It's not natural anymore.
No, that's the natural side of it has been taken away. And we spoke about this the other day, didn't we, Bobby? About Attenborough, didn't we? David Attenborough.
He's doing some great work.
He's doing some great work. He's from roughly where I am in the UK. But he said in 1950, 2.1 billion people on the planet, and 70% of the environment was there. The greenery, the jungles and everything was there. Forward to today, 2020, 7.1 billion people on the planet and 32% of the environment left. And he said, if this continues, it's just going to suck itself in and we're going to end up with nothing. But, it doesn't take a lot. Like he said on his program, it doesn't take a lot to change things, people's habits and the way that we all do things. Even by just, taking a piece of land and just replenishing it and doing something like you used to do, with the bananas and that. Just you doing that is your part.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think if a lot of people took that sort of on board, it might get a lot further.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Later, you're going to ask us, what is the link between sport and environmentalism, right?
Yeah, sure.
And I'll grab it now while I have the opportunity.
Absolutely.
And that is biofeedback, right? Every other organism has to obey biofeedback. Whereas, if you do that, it doesn't work, you don't do it again, or you don't get to breed. Like it's the end of your species, right? And we've sort of lost that because of technology and cheap energy has allowed us to make huge changes and be insulated from the result until now, right? Now it's catching up. Like you said, 30% of the environment left. And
sad.
So now, and what you get from sport is in nature, consensus is reached through performance. And sport is like that too. You can't fake it. If you want to demonstrate that your equipment or your technique is the best, you have to do it on a level playing field, and there's no way you can cheat it, right? Business is not like that at all, right? You can cheat, you can move emotions, you can, set crazy policies, and they don't have to be reasonable. But the great thing about getting people on the beach, getting them on the water, is they're moving their body, right? And you can't argue with gravity.
No,
right?
I mean
it's a real reality check.
Self-motion, isn't it? I mean, it's out there, and of course, it's freedom. I mean, you feel very free, don't you?
Yeah,
I mean,
I've
never done it, so I put my hands up to it. I've never done surfboarding or anything like that. But I mean, I can imagine that being on that board and being able to do what you do is just a sense of freedom, a sense of relaxation.
Yes, that's right. And there are a lot of turtle and the dolphin
Yeah,
that
sure.
I see so much in the past.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yes, and then about 25 years ago, I see the dead whale,
A dead whale.
whale shark,
Okay.
and more dead turtle. I said, what's wrong? Then I start to,
Understand.
get serious about that. But when it comes to environment, I was serious since I was a kid. When I went to Europe and I start to compare between Europe and Thailand, I said, why it's so much different?
But you imagine this is if everybody around the world, just one person picked up one bottle
Yes.
every day,
Yeah.
that's 7.1 billion bottles a day.
Yeah.
It's not bad, is it?
It's not bad.
It's a crazy way of looking at it,
Yeah.
but it's just my way of thinking. It doesn't take a lot by one person. One person can set off a chain reaction.
Yep.
And the thing is as well, I mean, where I want to go with this is today with the how can we say, the modern media circus that's out there, when it comes to, there's good points and bad points, okay? With your surf boarding and your business, it's good for you. You can put yourself out there.
Yes.
You can advertise yourself. The other end of it is that you can also encourage people to do things, yeah?
Yes.
And the way it works at the moment, and we can see it in the current situation with the virus that's going around, which in my eyes is just bullshit, but at the end of the day, it just shows you how powerful it is.
Yeah.
And it can change people's mindset into making this world healthier.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the way I think.
The human evolutionary advantage, right? Apart from these opposing thumbs, is that we can work in groups. And working in groups, we can do incredible things. At the moment, you have Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, right?
Everything.
And they get to decide who gets pushed to the top, which stories are dominating, right?
Yep.
And so the narratives that run through our culture are what are organizing us. That's going to drive how we spend our money, where the resources are going, right? And if that is in line with what the environment needs, wonderful, we have abundance. If it's toxic, we all go down the toilet. And what's really scary is that what I'm seeing, the main narratives, they look good on the surface. It's like, wear a mask, stay at home, look after everyone, right? Or another one is like, the carbon in the sky is very dangerous, right? We've got to, stop using fossil fuels, cut down the energy. Another one is, should be eating plants, shouldn't be eating animals, So there's these stories and they look good, they make sense on the surface. But they don't stand up to close examination. And what actually happens is weather. Yeah, weather's changing. That's really serious, right?
Well, the weather changing is as serious as we know. The climate change around the world at the moment is colossal. I mean,
Right.
you just have to look at the planet videos where you go to the North Pole and everything, where it's just melting and melting and melting and melting.
So
It's
what,
just, wow.
What changes? What is weather? Weather is the movement of water in the atmosphere, right?
Yes.
And what's driving that is the way water moves across the ground and through the ground. And what's driving that is the organic matter on the ground and in the ground, the microorganisms, the depth. So that when rain hits a field, it soaks in the organic mat.
And if it can't,
Right, and that drives humidity, which changes the temperature.
Yeah.
But if you have replaced that grass field where there were animals on it, and you're just growing rows and rows of seeds with fertilizer, it's just running straight into the water, creating algae blooms and more problems, right? And you've got like 50 or 60 crops left, then there's no more topsoil. So really what's important is not the carbon in the sky, it's carbon on the ground. But who knows that, right? Who's talking about that?
well, there's these things in media. Especially when it comes to Facebook and Google and places like that. When it comes to trying to get something out there, they've got these great things in place called filters.
Yeah.
And if they feel as though they don't want to filter you in the right direction, believe me, they won't.
Well, they're not even necessarily bad people. It's just that they believe that we need to be charging in this direction, right? And that's not performance-based, right? That is just consensus through emotion, right? And that's not healthy.
I mean, with the windsurfing, I mean, down there now, you're at Jomtien.
Naa Jomtien.
Naa Jomtien. I mean, when did you move there?
I moved there 14 years ago.
14.
Yes.
And what, you set up renting or
Renting school and shop
okay.
and storage.
So how has that grown over the years? I mean, when you started 14 years ago, was there many people doing that at that time, or
Oh no, I
did
start.
people know about that?
I start my windsurfing rental 40 years already.
40 years.
Yes, but in the beginning I started
40?
40. 40.
I only arrived on the scene
I was gonna say.
16 years ago, 17 years ago. Yeah.
Well, you're only 19, isn't he? He looks about 19. Doesn't he?
Pakwan.
Bring it on. 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And what about okay, let's go to 40 years ago. I mean, did people know about that? Did they understand what it was? Did you get people interested in doing
Oh
it?
yes, a lot of European they know what windsurfing. That's when the first group of tourists that came to Thailand. A lot of German, French.
But
So
how about, okay, let's put it this way. 40 years ago, you're Jomtien, yeah?
at that time I started in Pattaya.
In Pattaya, okay.
Yes.
So 40 years ago, starting Pattaya, doing the windsurfing. How did people get to know that you were there? How did you get yourself known to people?
From the race in Europe.
Yeah.
Because when the magazine they publish.
Okay.
And
Okay. So
yes.
so you was in the magazine.
Yes.
And they put where you were in Pattaya.
Yes.
Okay. And what about the hotels? Did you go around any of the hotels
No,
at the time?
I don't do any advertising with the hotel.
Wow. So word of mouth and magazines,
Yes.
sponsorships, I would imagine.
Yes.
Even now, we don't actually advertise very much. We just we're very blessed with the people who just arrive all the time, right? And they have a good time and they talk. And
Well, I would imagine
enough.
that. I mean, it's can I say this? Would I say that it's a niche market over here?
absolutely.
Is
Yeah.
it? Is that right? Can I say that, Bobby?
You can.
I mean, you know more about this. How long have you been doing it? You're quiet today. What's up with you? You're not falling asleep, are you?
I'm learning so much. I'm just a silent observer here.
You're. What about
Well,
you?
the truth is, I moved to Maui in 1991, but I visited Maui in the 80s, and windsurfing was exploding on the North Shore of Maui in the 80s. So when you talk about 1978, that's kind of like at the pioneer stage
Yes,
of
that's
when
right.
it was
Yeah,
really
78.
when the whole science of windsurfing was actually
Yes.
being created and launched by all these people who were serious about it, and also building the technology and making the sails work really well. So 78 was like, the
17, I
groundbreaking.
was 17.
Yeah.
17 I was.
Yeah,
How old was you?
At that time, I was 15.
15.
Yeah. It was the
17.
right time. I just came in at the right time. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the right time.
So how did you get into the boarding? I mean,
Well,
did you go with a friend? Or?
I actually don't windsurf.
No, you go on the board though, don't
I
you?
stand-up paddleboard, which actually came in way later, actually, because I remember actually living
Oh,
on
that
Maui.
came in after.
Yeah, well, historically, if you go back to the Hawaiians and the cavemen, they were probably floating on logs, back
Okay.
on the rivers and the oceans way back when. But in terms of the technology, the stand-up paddleboard, that was kind of, I think, I'd say early 90s it started, because I lived on the North Shore of Maui, and Laird Hamilton was, I think, one of the first dudes I saw on a stand-up paddleboard.
It didn't really hit mainstream till probably 2007, 2008. But
Interesting.
yeah, Hawaii and the surf spots, it was some little pockets.
I had a vision in my head there when you said that. There's some guy on a log paddling away on a paddle like this, and then some guy goes, "Hang on, if we put a sail on this, we'll go a bit faster."
Absolutely.
True though, yeah.
Yeah.
Who invented it? Do you know? Do you know?
I don't know.
You don't know who invented it?
I don't
Who
know.
invented
interesting.
windsurfing?
Yeah, who invented?
Oh,
I mean, somebody surely had the board, as you said. Yeah, but who decided to?
It was
sail on it.
Jim Drake
And
and
Schweitzer.
Matt Schweizer.
Yeah.
It's a Matt, yeah. And
Oh,
his son, Zane.
Saying,
Is that his son or is
yeah.
he's incredible. Like
Incredible in what way? Because
he's just an awesome person, a real true waterman with the the
Uh-huh.
soul of it. But the way he moves and the way he understands what's happening around him is inspiring.
So is he like the would you say the inventor of windsurfing then? Is that right? Can I say that?
Matt and
the
Jim Drake
grandfather,
invented windsurfing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Bet they're
So,
happy.
wow.
It was
And Jim Drake, I had the pleasure of meeting,
Yeah.
and he was actually totally charmed, as
Yes.
I was, by Amara.
Where were they
Love it,
located?
man.
Where were they basing what ocean were they, or lake were they living on?
I think Jim Drake came from California.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
California.
California. Okay.
So when was do you know that? I mean, I'm only talking quick here. Do you know when the first windsurf board was out there? Am I saying that windsurfing board? So if they've invented it, what year was that?
I can't remember what year, but it was
Interesting.
Jim Drake, and Schweizer.
It would have been in the
Yeah,
60s,
yeah.
So
maybe late.
60s,
Around
60s,
60s,
yeah. I
yeah.
would
70s,
have
I think.
probably said to the 60s,
yeah.
giving it yeah. It's got to be in it. Eh? Let's put a sail on this thing, Bill.
A lot of good things happen in
Yeah,
the 60s.
they do, don't they? I mean, a lot of good inventions come out of the 60s, don't they?
Well, actually, speaking of which, there's, Craig and Amara are really in touch with all the latest designs that are happening. And there's, people who enjoy stand-up paddleboarding can actually use a sail to propel themselves and go a lot faster. And Craig can talk about that. And there's some amazing technology that's happening right now.
What's happening now? Because I've seen, before you start, I've seen boards with sails on, and I've seen boards with big things underneath them. And
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm not a windsurfer, so I don't know. It's like I see all these different gadgets on these things. I mean, what are they doing?
The space is still moving quickly, as disruptive technology is moving through, and it's so fast. When I arrived in Thailand 2003, I started working with Amara in 2004, and about that same time, kiteboarding exploded.
Kiteboarding. That's
Kiteboarding is like a wakeboard or a very small board
with the parachute things.
It looks like a parachute on the end of string, and you hold the string. It's there on the
that's
board,
that's
right?
when it pulls you forward, yeah.
Sorry, kiteboarders going to kill me for that.
Was it?
Anyway, that exploded,
But
and that
some
took,
guy's going to come up and say, "Piece of string."
and that took a lot of attention and capital away from windsurfing. Just as I arrived into windsurfing, and now it's changed again. Now we've taken away the string, and we hold this inflatable sail in our hands,
Interesting.
and we stand on a little board, but now the board is on top of a hydrofoil.
Which is the hydrofoil is the long thing I see.
It's a big fin with another
I've seen
horizontal wing on the bottom.
I've seen one down
It's
there.
like an underwater aeroplane on a stick, and you fly this aeroplane,
Wow. Yeah,
and
sure.
you stand on a board on top of the stick, and
And you're out the
it's
water, are
quiet.
you?
You're like up to a meter above the water, and it's quiet.
Have you tried it?
Yeah,
Craig
You tried it.
yeah. I'm training on it as
It's
much
good.
as I
I
can.
mean, it must be amazing feeling.
I just feel so lucky, I'm out there and I'm going, this is my job.
Yeah.
I love this.
Feels like the Green Hornet in Spider-Man when he just
But
flies on that board.
it's
That
a-
must be amazing, yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. To
Does
be
that-
honest, I was never an athlete. I was the last kid picked to be on any team. I was an embarrassment, right? No good at sport at all. But the good thing about that is I understand, because now like nobody's good at sport anymore. Like people can't even swim.
No.
People come to our club and
It's put to the background now,
It's
isn't
a
it?
low priority,
We talk about the 70s, the 60s. I mean, when I went to school, it was one of the things you had to do. PE, it was the thing. You were made to do it.
Yeah.
You was made to swim. You was made to do this. They drilled it into you how sort of like important it is.
Right.
But like you say now, it's on the burner.
Yeah.
It's at the back. Shame.
So because I haven't been very good, I'm not a quick learner, but I remember the steps, and then I remember, how am I going to teach this to someone else who is not that great at this, right? Sometimes a natural athlete, they take it for granted how precious their skill that they have is, and they don't really appreciate it. Because I appreciate the hell out of it, because I never had it.
How Mara, with you, if I'm coming to your school, your class, your place of rental down there, and I've never done it before, and I come to you and I say, hey, I've never done this before. I can swim, but I've never done it before. What's your process with me?
I think I'm gonna let you try.
Being a man.
I let you paddle first.
Paddle, okay.
Yeah, stand up paddle. It's very easy.
Okay, so you get up on the board.
Yes, and just paddle along the beach. And when
And of course, that I would imagine is to do with balance and that. Yeah?
yes,
Totally.
that's right.
Which I'm totally useless at now, but
Well, you walk
yeah,
on 2 feet,
yeah.
which took a year to learn. So you're actually a master of gravity. You just forgot.
He's a sweet talking guy. This one I can tell.
Back
But so you get me on a board, okay?
Yes.
I stand up. I've got
Yes.
a paddle, and you say, "Okay, away you go," and you help me.
Yeah, I help you.
And from that, what do you observe? How good I am at balance, or what? Yeah.
Yeah, I observe. If you can't stand, I will ask you to sit on your knee
Okay.
a little bit and then try to stand. And then in the future, I reduce the size of the board.
Interesting. That's what I was going to ask you. I've seen that. I mean, what does that do by reducing the size of the board? Does that increase your balance, or what?
No, you can paddle faster if it's narrower.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
faster.
So how do I go from there to getting onto a windsurfing board?
Well, you can change anytime you like.
Yeah, but suddenly I've gone from a board that I've got a paddle in my hand to suddenly I've got a sail in my hand. You know, so I mean,
So it's interesting, right? Because
yeah.
what happens is you get in the water and suddenly you're doing physics without any numbers. But you're doing physics, right? You got surface areas, you got edges, and you got leverage. And you go with the paddle, it's just a big lever. Right?
Absolutely.
You just stick it in, crank
And
it.
away you go,
crank it,
yeah,
right?
sure.
And you realize that if your head goes away from your feet, even a little bit, you fall. So it's like, hang about. The ground's moving like I'm drunk,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Of course, it's going to push my head to one side. I'm going to fall over.
Yep.
So you're like, okay, hang about. Keep my head in it. I let my hips move. But I don't move my hips. I let the ocean move my hips. Suddenly, now you're dancing, right? You're allowing the waveform of the ocean to move through your body. And this feels fantastic.
This is feeling as one, isn't it, Bobby? Is that right?
Yeah.
Feeling as one.
Yeah. I was out there doing my SUP, stand-up paddleboarding, and Craig intervened and shared that concept with me, which really helped me a lot because I think everyone's hips are stiff, and especially men's hips are very stiff. And just that concept allowed me to take my whole balancing into a whole nother direction. It really helped me out.
Interesting.
It's the beginning of a very deep subject because, we are biology, right? We're a collection of cells working together to make tissues, to make organs, to make this incredible organism with a great nervous system, right?
Correct.
And the way it needs to work is it needs to relate to the rest of biology, right? But we don't. We relate through knowledge and technology, right? And that is all about narratives and stories and personal priorities and assumptions, right? And what happens is the body doesn't know what's going on. Your cells are listening to this stream of thoughts and worries and concerns. It's got nothing to do with organic reality.
I get the feeling of the waves and the moving of the body bit. I understand.
Yeah, so that just takes you right back to, this is reality right now in the moment. And you go, guess what, cells? I'm going to give you the gift of my awareness because that's what you gave me, right? And I'm going to give it back to you. And now your body can do what it does. It's called self-regulate, right? And that's what your immune system's supposed to do too, right? It's like when you take an organic system and you hold it out of balance, right? Eventually it's going to die unless you allow it to come back, right? So it's not about vaccines. It's not about smashing everything with a big hammer, right? It's about gently listening, paying respect to biology, and being genuinely curious because what your biology may need may not be what you think or what you morally think it needs, right? It just is what it is. Right?
We need to be as one, as they say. Yeah, is that right? Be one with the ocean.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Do you think I'd do well on the board, Bob? What do you reckon?
I think, your kids love the water, and I know you love the water, but you got to get back into it.
Yeah, I used to swim all the time. I could swim length and now I can swim like 100 yards. And
it's so healing. It's a transformation. You enter it's like being baptized. I mean, the word baptism, I really don't know what it means, but I could see the transformation that happens when you enter that aqua world. It does something to every cell in your body. It just shifts it.
It's a reprioritizing. It pulls you out of your head where there's nothing useful happening in that environment, right? And it goes like, oh, feeling. Remember that? Yeah, feeling is feedback. It's
I'm working on that one at the moment. The feeling side of it. I'm trying to get that working.
And all of
again.
us came from that field of water, that embryonic
absolutely.
pool of fluid.
Absolutely.
We've always been in relationship with biology, right? It's just that we lost awareness of that, and we started to shift to different priorities that are, mildly toxic.
The thing is with today and modern technology and the modern world that moves so fast, we tend to forget our roots. Yeah. We tend to forget where we came from. We tend to forget who we are, and we tend to forget how fragile we are. Yeah. And that's something that people don't realize or forget. Governed by money and governed by governments and people that have got big strings isn't my way of having a good life. But everybody's got their own opinion on that.
We do, and that's a good thing. It's like I have come to find that pretty much everything that works for me is 180 degrees opposite of what I was told was healthy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is that's the problem, and no disrespect to anybody. There's so many people out there say this is good for you, that's good for you, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. And then suddenly you start to do everything and you find it's the complete opposite. To what everybody said. They say don't do this and you think, okay, I'll have a go at it, and you do it and you think, well, actually that's a lot better than they said it is.
Well,
so it's
sport is a little bit like science in a way, right? Because sport you have to prove, right? So it's like I am totally open to everyone trying whatever the hell they want. It's fine. I have done a lot of crazy things, right? But at the end of the day, if something's not working, are you going to hold on to your precious belief?
No.
Or are you going to let it go and try something different?
Well, if you're strong-willed like Amara, you get on a plane and you go to Germany and get on an Jomtien Beach. What a start! Where are you now then today? I mean, where are you situated now? Where is your business now?
On Jomtien Beach, Naa Jomtien 14.
Okay, and are you open every day?
We open every day, yes.
Every day, and where do you see it going? I mean, we're in difficult times at the moment, as we all know we are, and it's in the way that this COVID has done everybody. I mean, where do you see it going?
We're actually right next to the View Murray restaurant.
Yep.
Which is about 500 meters south of the Glass House and Bako restaurant. So it's fantastic.
It's a nice place. I've been there. I mean, Bobby introduced me to this beach, and I mean, wow, I've been here 15 years and I've never been there.
And my friend Polly up in Bangkok introduced me to Amara and Craig. So if Polly's listening, thank you, Polly, so much for introducing me. I have two boards, and that my really dear friend Alan, who actually passed away 4 weeks ago, gave me from Samui. They were made in Maui, and I have them here. And I was asking Polly, where do I store my boards? Where do I keep them? And she goes, you got to connect with Amara. She's out in Naa Jomtien. And I went out there, and you guys totally hooked me up.
How long have you been there, guys? How long have you been at where you are now?
We have been at that spot 14 years ago.
Is it that long now?
Yes.
At the place where you are?
Yes.
Wow.
But I have my business 40 years ago.
40 years ago.
Yes, I've been moving now 4 times since I live in Pattaya.
Well, after listening to your story, I'm surprised that your feet can stand still. You're all over. Hey, you know what, guys? I mean, do we want to?
I'd like to ask Amara
please.
Talk a little briefly about. She does some amazing work with children.
Okay, please do.
Education and
educate me. What do you do?
Yeah, because I noticed that the ocean and our country is so dirty, and I'm a bit sick of seeing that. And my friend Turtle. The whales, they're dying. I thought I have to do something about that. So many times I have a request from school to teach the kid to windsurf or SUP. So I asked them if I can talk about environment to the kid a little bit and share that with them. And
SUP, what is that?
A stand-up paddleboard.
Okay, all right. Yeah. I'm going to get that one because I didn't know that. You've just said it and I've gone, SUP, what's that? Stand-up paddleboard?
Yes.
There you go. How dumb I am. You can slap me after.
And I noticed that many parents think it's a good idea. So I start, organizing
class. Yeah.
Class, environment class. teach them about the ocean, about sharing my experience, and pick up the rubbish, learn to sup, learn to windsurf, and separate the rubbish, and we discuss about what to do with the rubbish. And so now the group is getting bigger and bigger.
Good for you.
So we, I have many projects, like we break down the bottle, the plastic bottle, and turn it into the cement block.
Yes, I've seen them abroad doing that. They're actually in another country. They're actually laying roads with it now.
Oh yes, in England.
In England, they're doing the roads with the bottles, the plastic bottles now, and recycling and putting it into the tarmac.
And car tires as well.
And car tires was actually the car tire one they're doing now. They've been practicing with that in the UK a lot, and that is laying all the car tires down, putting the sand and soil over it, and tarmacking it, and it's giving the road that spongy feeling, but it's retaining the water and everything and lasting a lot longer. But the blocks I've seen, because in the third world country they've been building the houses from them, they've been recycling them, and I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. And I have many different projects. So we the block is already done.
Brilliant.
And we put it in a temple, in Ban Ampere.
Great.
And we are working with the Sattahip Technology College. So they're building the machine. So we just bring the plastic bottle to them. Then when we have the new group, we bring it back and teach the kid how to make a brick. And
I mean, the thing is as well, as I know, because let me just say, like, let's say the north of Thailand, for example. I'm up in Pisla Rock, and I've been out, and my houses are, in the village, they're in the jungle, or whatever you want to say. It's down to education. It's down to programming the people to say, hey, you can do this. This is the way we do it. I mean, I took my son for the first time to see a dolphin once, and he's been at school for quite a while, yeah. And I went, there you go. What's that? It's a dolphin.
Yeah.
So there's these things. It's just education, and I think if you can change people's mindset of how they think about what they do every day, and you can program them to do different things just by you doing what you're doing, which is great. If you can teach two people to do that, and they can teach two people to do that, it's a chain reaction, and suddenly that chain becomes very big, and suddenly you get a big change.
And we teach by touch and feel.
So
they come down, we do a rubbish pick-up with the kids. So the kids are picking it up, and they're going like, oh, this is the piece of plastic in a cotton bud, right? And they actually look at each piece of rubbish.
It's educational.
Like, most of this is actually junk food wrapper, right? So it's actually killing the environment, but it was never actually that valuable, ever, right?
That's the sad part.
And like, as you were talking about COVID is pretty much metabolic disease, right? Which is pretty much processed food. No one's talking about that.
No, of course they won't.
That would be a real solution.
How can we talk about that? How can we say it's a processed food? I mean, come on, it's one of. I mean, one of the big things I seen on the program the other night, just by the fishing nets that they use. They use, I believe at the moment now, everybody uses these nylon.
Nylon, yes.
And before they used a degradable one. That it could be in the ocean.
Natural fibers.
So they're trying to turn them back to that. I mean, it's a sad affair when the biggest threat on this planet is human, which it is.
Yes.
And if people can, and you're doing it great. I mean, you're doing a fantastic job. If it could just cause a chain reaction, just even in where we are now in Pattaya and Jomtien, just imagine how quick this place would change.
It's like you said. Once the children start asking better questions, right?
Yes.
They have brilliant ideas.
I think it's down to this. I mean, when I talk to my son, I mean, my son's at a school. We won't say what school it is, but when I speak to him and I listen to what he's taught in school, he's learning from a teacher that wasn't really learnt about the right things. They learn the basic things. This is this and this is that. But my son's he's 10, and I got a map out, not so long ago, and I put it in front of him, and I said, "Where's England?" And he can't tell me. He can't tell me where Norway is. He can't tell me where anywhere is, because they don't teach him this. Well, they don't sort of like say, this is the world and this is what happens. I just think it's down to the education part of it.
Well, knowledge is... I get in trouble for attacking knowledge, right? Everyone worships knowledge, and knowledge is great. But knowledge is like taking someone else's experience and trying to package it as though it's transferable.
Absolutely.
Experience is not transferable.
But this is where ladies like you come into force, and you from what you did at 13, doing what you did from collecting those paper bags and getting 1.5 baht, you went full circle. Yeah. You created yourself. Yes. You created you. You know, which is a phenomenon. Yeah. So you've created you, and I think if a lot of people in the world could do that without saying I have to be a carbon copy of him or a carbon copy of him, I think the world would be totally different.
Yeah. There's inspiration. Yes. It's like a beautiful virus, right? And the more inspired you become, the harder you have to work, right?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Because now it's like, oh, I want that, and it's possible. If I don't have it, it's because I didn't do this, and this, right? So it's like it's a very clear choice, and it's your choice. And inspiration is totally personal. You can be inspired by anything. It's fine.
I remember my dad saying to me, he said in life there's like 10 pigeonholes, yeah? He says, there's 10 pigeonholes, and you're not going to be in any of them. And he was right. Yeah. He was right, and we were correct about you. You're not in any of those pigeonholes. And I think that's when you get change. You know, because a lot of people, if you look at them over the years, if you look at the people that are now, you know, like if you look at the computer world, if you look at the travel world, a lot of these people are not that educated. You know, 70% of them are dyslexic. Yeah. Believe it or not, yeah? So it just shows you, just by coming out of that mold, you know, coming out of the norm and stepping on a plane at 15 or 16 and going around the world and doing what you're doing, how it can change the way you feel, and how it can change what you do, and how it can change what you're doing now, and that is you're changing people's lives. You're educating them, which is phenomenal.
Yes, and I change because I care.
Yes,
this is important.
But a lot of people don't.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't.
Yeah, that's the problem, because they think about themselves.
Exactly, selfish.
You know, in the world, it's not just me, it's you.
Absolutely.
You, right? Yeah. Together.
But it's our children. It's our children.
You know, before we had trades, right? You grew up and you're indentured and you learn a skill. And a skill cannot be faked. A skill is 10,000 hours plus, right?
Absolutely.
Now we have something different. We have this knowledge around science and things. So we're stuffing our heads of all of these concepts, but we're not moving. We're not actually testing anything in gravity, in space, right? And so that we become disassociated from reality. Yeah. And then, of course, we become selfish and we become afraid because we're not able to take care of ourselves.
If you could have, let's take the average person of today, the average child at school or whatever you want to say, 15, 16, 17 years old or whatever, right? If you could take a scale from when they got up in the morning, from when they went to bed at night, and then see what they've done all day, you know, logged everything down, and then out of that 100%, take the percentage that's actually useful and actually meaningful to the way they're going to think or do in their life, you'll probably find that it's about 2 or 3%.
I agree.
Maximum.
Yes.
Because 70, 80, 90, 95% of what kids do today isn't useful. It's rubbish.
Yeah, I look at myself because, you know, like I think that graceful movement, right, which is like using energy minimally but effectively, it's beautiful, right? And to get, like, I'm 50, you know, in November. Yeah. Right? Now, for me to embody grace, I have to do so much work to get the stiffness out of my body, to learn how to move nicely.
But you know, a lot of people don't do that, Craig. A lot of people are content. Right? They're content
because it's so easy to pick up the phone and look for a little dopamine hit. You know, have a chat with someone or share a photo. Like, that's much easier than doing the hard.
But a lot of people are content of what they're doing. They don't want, you know, a lot of people don't like change. People don't want change. You know, it's the people that stand out like Amara who do want change. And then from that, you know, that she has to spread a great virus. Because that's what you have to do. That's what you're doing. You're spreading a great virus. That's what your aim is in life, and that is to teach everybody about the environment, teach them about what you know and your knowledge, and try and teach something that. So you are a good virus.
Yeah,
And if-
inspiration.
inspiration
virus.
Inspiration virus. So if a lot of people like you and there's many around the world, if this could just catch on a little bit more and maybe taught in the schools where you go in and you do stand-up chatting or conferences with these people to try and make that virus infectious, then I think the world would change. But it's, as Attenborough said, it's not too late to change still.
What a trap that's easy to fall into, and I was stuck in this place for many years, and that is like, you get a little, you think you know something, you try it out, it works, and you go like, it's so wrong that the Western world is not doing this. And then you compare how beautiful things could be to how they are. And then I get like frustrated and I get angry. Now my emotion, my personal resonance is crappy.
Yeah.
So now no one wants to be around me and I'm a little bit toxic, even though I have this great intention. That's not inspiration.
No.
Inspiration is going, okay, so you found something that works. Do it. Demonstrate it,
Absolutely.
show it, and stick with the doing.
Where do you see things going? What would you like to see now? I mean, you've got your business up there at the Jomtien, and you've been there. I mean, what would you like for the future for you guys?
You mean in business or?
In everything. I mean, where would you like to go? I mean, you've achieved so much. I mean, I would imagine that a lady like you is not just going to sit back in a chair and start knitting
no,
a
I
jumper,
don't.
are you?
I won't stop. I'm still. I think I'm gonna keep inspire everyone as long as I live. And I know from the let's say 2 years ago, I invite first time was 150 kids from different sport from Bangkok, and those kids when they came, they have no clue where the bottle going, where the plastic bag going.
They're down to education again.
Yeah. So they have a look, and I remember my friend called me back a day later, and they said, "Oh, at the swimming pool, no more straw, no more cotton bud,
Yeah.
no more bottle."
Down to education.
Yeah.
But
So
they don't teach this in schools.
I think they do, but not enough.
They do, but it's not real.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
have the
it's sort
school
of-
kids come down,
Yeah.
and all the apples got left behind, and they ate all the junk food in the foam boxes.
Yeah.
Right?
So it takes a long time, but the school have to let me go in. Nearly every school, let me go in and talk to the kid, bring them down, because I know many kids like to do that, but they said they can't because the teacher wouldn't allow them. So, but I believe with time, with the work I'm doing, it changed slowly.
Good. All right. Okay. Listen, guys, it's been great to have you in the studio today. It's been really good.
Yeah,
Enjoyed
likewise. Yeah, very much. Thanks.
it? Thanks a
Thank
lot
you
for
very
coming in.
Thanks, Bob.
You've got a website, yes?
Yep.
And that is?
AmaraWatersports.com.
AmaraWatersports.com. Thank you for coming in.
You're welcome.
It's been great to have you in here. Been really privileged to meet you. And what a story. What a story for everybody out there, eh? So if you're out there and you start picking up the bags like you did, I mean, look where it can get you, eh? But you've got to be strong, yes?
Yeah.
We were out there 3 weeks ago, and actually,
Have you got a good right hook, by the way?
we were out there 3 weeks ago picking up trash, and the consulate from Norway came down.
Yeah, it was the worldwide one, wasn't it? Because
Yeah.
I seen on the internet the sort of like it was the day around the
And
world.
I was thinking of you because you spent a lot of time there.
12 years in Norway, yeah. 12
Oh.
years. Yeah, nice place. Very good place.
Yeah.
But listen, guys, it's been good to have you in here. You're welcome to come back anytime you want. This door is always open.
Thank you.
It's mine and Bobby's living room, as we say, isn't it, Bobby?
Yeah, it's our living room.
We're just waiting for the fireplace and but you're welcome to come back in here, right?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. And we'll be back up at the beach and see you. And of course, Bobby's there most weekends anyway, aren't you, Bob?
Yep.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sawadee ka.
Thank you.
Sawadee ka.
Talking Heads podcast live from Pattaya, Thailand with your host, Dave D. Join us weekdays. Check out all the latest updates on talkingheads-podcast.com.